It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
Well, welcome back. I know you probably missed us as much as we missed you. Well, that's not really possible. I'm Will. This is Chris, and it's time for a cup of coffee right here at Slumberland at the lake. And a big show this week. Everybody heard about the Osage Nation. They're apparently moving forward with the casino development. Well, still some uncertainty there. We'll dig into that just a little bit. Man, even after the crazy winter storm, a lot of snow we just got.
Yeah.
Looks like lake levels still down and could keep going down by the end of February.
Yep.
So things you probably need to know for you homeowners on the water with docks. And then, man, we love the changing table. We did a feature with them, the nonprofit, and man, they have done some amazing things over the last few years, and our friends at Lake Expo gave them a pretty good nod and a cool story we'll share with you. One of my favorite stories is the Winter Olympics opening ceremonies. Ratings are
terrible.
That's what you get.
Nobody's watching them, baby.
Nobody's
That's good.
watching because it's all a bunch of BS, smoke and mirrors, communist China. I think that's probably why everyone has an issue with it. Very good. We're also going to talk about getting ready for Super Bowl Sunday. And since I don't really care about the game, I got some really good snack facts. Super Bowl snack facts I'm going to share with you to see if you knew them or not.
Snack facts.
Snack facts about the Super Bowl eating tendencies by us here in America.
Right,
Imagine how many pounds of hot wings just the Holtz household goes through.
That sounds good, doesn't it? We should have some right here, right now.
Andy will be there this year, so we need to double down because that man loves him some hot wings. I'm telling you.
That's
we'll
going to be
about
some... you don't want to be around Andy for the next couple days after that, right?
Yeah, man. He's not as bad as Unique is, I'll be honest.
What? Your wife? Oh,
yeah,
my gosh.
She's out of control. Oh, wait, I'm just talking about the eating. It gets out of control.
Not the gas.
No, that's what Aunt Michelle tells us about you.
Oh, well, that's true.
You're out of control. Hey, on a more serious note, also a piece of art. I've never cried over a piece of art until this. I'm going to share that with you guys. A really, really cool.
You cried?
Yeah, big shock, right?
Wow.
I have the most overactive tear ducts in America. It's unbelievable. And then, of course, we got some cool events. We'll tell you about all that. But first, before we talk about Valentine's Day, everyone's excited about, all the love in the air, the balloons, the flowers, the chocolates. But you know what's even more exciting than Valentine's Day?
What?
President's Day.
What?
Right around the corner, one of the biggest sales of the year right here for Slumberland is the President's Day sale.
Okay.
To tell us a little bit about it, my man Daryl.
Hey everyone, Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. We've started our President's Day sale and we have some awesome deals in our mattress gallery. Come check out our new way of buying and selling mattresses. You won't be disappointed. Get great discounts, get up to 5 years interest-free financing on orders $1,200 or more. Come see us at Slumberland Furniture at the Lake, where we're bringing happy home.
All right, so don't forget, President's Sale going on now. You still got some time, but I wouldn't wait because the stuff on the showroom ready to go probably won't last long, especially at these prices. And when you come down and see it, make sure you tell them that your guy, Unky Chris, and Will sent you. All right, first local story. It's a biggie.
Yeah.
Osage Nation has officially put out, they're seeking bids for demolition at their site in Lake Ozarks. So the headlines read, Osage Nation moving forward with the $60 million casino plans. They're now accepting those bids. So it looks like that Osage Nation is not backing off. They're not slowing down. Looks like they're full head of steam and they have the full intention of making this happen.
Sure looks like it, yeah. A public notice placed in the Eldon Advertiser in January stating that requests for proposals being sought for qualified demolition of that land, which is across the road from where Menards is, right?
Yeah.
Right in that little area there. The Osage Nation announced plans for this $60 million hotel complex and casino back in October. We told you all about it. It was all the big rage. You talked to the Missouri Gaming Commission about it to see what was going on with all of that. The Osage Nation Casino would be the first casino at the Lake of the Ozarks, the 14th casino in the state of Missouri. And, what makes this all a big wild card is that since it's the Osage Nation, right, not really, under the United States. They're their own nation,
Right.
so they get their own rules. They're not subject to Missouri laws, regulations of casinos. This casino could be built on Osage Nation land regardless of Missouri laws. So I think they're pushing ahead trying to make that happen where they don't have to live by the normal Missouri rules. But they're still going to have to get a lot of help from like the governor and the gaming commission and other stuff, you would think, in order for this to happen, right?
Oh, yeah. And I had, as you mentioned, chairman of the Missouri Gaming Commission, Mike Lear, on my podcast on November 15th. And he had a lot of things to say, and there's still a lot of questions to be asked because, yes, there's a lot of, you just mentioned, that they don't fall under the same rules. There's a treaty in place between the Osage Nation, different tribes, and the United States government as far as being their own sovereign nation. And so if they file for an exemption it starts with the Department of Interior, they would have to approve or accept that exemption. At times, these exemptions have taken up to 10 years, and there's also got to be some proximity to land owned by the Osage Nation, which looks like it's almost 150 miles away from that land they're proposing it at. Now, when I spoke with Mike Lear, he had a lot of interesting things to say and brought up some pretty good questions that you probably need to hear.
There's an exemption in there that they can apply for. It's not automatic by any means, but there's an exemption that would allow them to have a casino on an off-site location. They would have to go through the process of requesting for this exemption. Begins with the Department of Interior. However, one of the considerations in approval of this from the federal government is how does the state feel about it? A governor could veto this. If there was an approval from the governor, then the application process could proceed. No application has been made that we're aware of. At this stage, where we understand it to be, without any more information, I just can't imagine something like this moving any further along than it is within the next 3 years.
Now, of course, that was back in November 15th when we had him on. So when I saw these headlines, the only thing I thought to do was to reach out to Chairman Lear via text, and he actually said he was unaware, didn't even know.
Isn't that interesting? Wow.
And so, like you said, it could not be under the United States government, but it would almost have to be, as you heard him talk about right there, is there'd have to be some kind of compact and agreement, not just with the local municipalities, but also the state. That would come from the Department of Interior, the governor's office, and of course the Gaming Commission. They would have to be on board with this, and they'd have to work out in the compact. Who's going to handle the policing? Who's going to handle the road and bridge? Who's going to handle the medical responsibilities with EMS and things like that? It can't all fall on the local municipalities if the taxation is not the same, which it wouldn't be. They'd have to have something figured out. And I would find it hard to believe that Chairman Lira wouldn't have had awareness if that treaty, if that exemption had been filed for with the Department of Interior. Now, I texted him, and he was going to give me comment by this morning. He had not gotten back to me by the time we recorded this week. But we're going to stay in contact with him because, as you heard him say, he'd find it hard to believe that this could actually come to fruition in the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And that was just back in November.
Yeah.
And so he's got a pretty good handle on the processes. You can check out that entire podcast. It's available on our YouTube channel. You could also find it on our Facebook page back from November 15th, where that entire interview is there. And I mean, he was a great interview.
Yeah.
He's been very easy to work with. And so if they haven't filed for that exemption, it does not mean that they can't break ground on a hotel and
Absolutely.
a restaurant and a shopping complex.
Right. They might be taking this slow. They might be looking to do the demo work on the land, get that ready, kind of show everybody that they're for real. I mean,
Right.
What they're planning is the real deal, and then maybe the next step is to put in for the exemption, or maybe they've got a lot of friends in a lot of high places and they are starting this without the knowledge of some of the people at the Gaming Commission. But you would think they'd be smarter than that because you want to make friends. You don't want to make enemies.
And
right?
You're not kidding. I talked to Mayor Dennis Newberry, and he said, Will, I cannot say a whole lot right now. I will say, like it or not, the Osage Nation is here to stay. I'd almost assume their game plan or their strategy maybe come down and really get intertwined in the community,
Yep.
get close to the Board of Aldermen, the police chief, establish yourself with the business leaders and the local municipalities. That way, you get their cooperation, you get them on board when you get to the state level. And if you've got the local support, and you can find a way to get the state support,
that's smart.
Then when you put that exemption in with the Department of Interior, then you're way more likely to get that accepted at the federal level, because they look for, in these situations, as Chairman Lira said, they look for cooperation from the state and the local level in the form of a compact. And if they have that, then they said it's much more likely to happen. A lot to still be determined here. Don't believe the headlines. You see it's happening. It's not happening tomorrow. No, you're not going to be gambling at the lake in the next couple of years. I highly doubt. Like Chairman Lira said, 4 to 5 years, probably a pretty realistic timeline.
And think about it. I mean, the Osage Nation, with their other casinos and everything, they're swimming in money. They do not have a money problem, right? So they're in no huge rush. To try to avoid bankruptcy or anything like that. They can play the slow game here. So clear the land, show everybody that you're serious, make friends with the mayor and the alderman and the governor and stuff like that. And that's probably the game they're playing right now. That's the smart play.
Agreed. And it may be the perfect play. Of course, time will tell. We'll continue to keep you updated. And by next week, I certainly anticipate having an update for you from Chairman Lira. All right, next story. This one was actually published on February 4th, which was Friday, kind of right during the snowpocalypse. But the lake level is down, and it looks like it is going to continue to go down through the end of February.
Yeah, absolutely. And they do this every year. Nothing to be worried about. This is pretty normal. Last year was abnormal because of that, the freeze, and they had to keep running water through the dam because they needed the electricity. And they were, selling a lot of the electricity, I think. So the lake levels last year got abnormally low. This year so far, it's just normal, nothing to freak out about. They call it the winter drawdown every year. Lake level is brought down every winter, typically starting in January, which happened again this year. Full pool. When you hear somebody say water level is 660. Right? When I first moved here, what do you mean? It's the lake is 660 feet deep? That's what I thought. Yeah. And they're like, no, it's 660 feet above sea level.
Right.
Okay. So that's full pool. That's where, when the lake is full, they want to keep it at 660 feet above sea level. So during the drawdown, they let more out of the dam, and usually they take it down to about 654. So it drops 6 feet, right? That means your dock is going to go down 6 feet.
Right.
If in bad situations where they need to lower it further, they usually take it down to 651. That would be 9 feet. So if you're a dock owner, a homeowner on the water, your dock's going down.
Right.
And if, depending on how much water you've got under your dock, that could mean your dock's sitting on the ground.
Yeah, which we've seen in a lot of cases.
Yeah, oh yeah, we've seen, and there's a lot of people that know that. They've got shallow water, they buy lifts just for that. Doesn't bother their dock when it's sitting on the ground. Others, not ready for that. But the real wild card is the ice.
Yeah.
If you lower the lake and then, like last year, ice come and freezes that dock, that can cause a lot of damage.
Yeah, luckily there are things you can do when you anticipate ice, and I wouldn't wait till you get in the point you were last weekend with all the snow and ice. You want to be prepared, and there are places all over the lake that'd be happy to get you a de-icer for around your dock. Make sure you take care of it. And one other thing that you didn't mention is, when it lowers, it's not just the dock itself and where it's sitting, the walkway to the dock.
Yeah.
Because if it gets too low, that could break. We've seen that a lot. Also, the cables holding your dock to the land. So there's a lot of risk when it comes to where your dock is located and how much water is underneath it. And when it gets lowered, I can see all the dock owners, and they're getting a little nervous.
We learned a lot last year because of that freeze, or at least I did. It's like when the water freezes around your dock on low water, that walkway, when it's going like that, is pulled away from the dock. That causes a lot of damage and different things like that. So you just want to, read up on this stuff, talk to dock companies, figure out what's going on. It's wise to get an aerator to move the water so it won't freeze quite as fast. Last year it was so cold, it froze everybody. Didn't matter if you had an aerator in there or not, everything froze. But usually, a water mover will keep it from freezing solid.
Right. All right, next story. This is a uplifting story. Like I said, we did a really cool nonprofit late last year on the changing table. Really cool organization getting diapers into hands of those that need it.
And you know all about this, right? Because you're swimming in diapers.
I mean, yeah, and you would not believe. Now, we've been very blessed, but I'll tell you, the cost of diapers, it gets up there. And when your child is going through, 6 to 8 diapers a day, adds up quick. And so you're wanting to stay stocked up, and you start to get a little nervous when you get down to, 12 or less diapers because you don't know how the next 12 hours is going to be.
Can you imagine the old days when it was those cloth diapers? Oh man,
all I could think about was the massive blowout Brindley had yesterday, and if it was a cloth diaper, that wouldn't have been recycled. That would have been thrown in the trash on the spot.
There would have been a hole in the diaper, man.
Oh man, there was. It wasn't cloth either. But so the changing table collects 225,000 diapers.
Yeah.
This according to Lake Expo.
Yeah, and just amazing. The lady is Jessica Rozier.
Yeah.
Right. She was a breastfeeding mother, consultant, wife, very busy, with kids. So she started up this certified 501c3 because she noticed that, there were organizations getting a lot of everything else, food, formula, clothes, stuff like that. And she says, well, how about diapers, right? And so she starts up this 501c3. She said that, and then she started this, I think, with Hy-Vee, right? She approached the management at Hy-Vee in Osage Beach, asked if they could host a diaper drive over a Friday through Saturday morning thing. Hy-Vee agreed. Just a few hours, that first one, they collected 26,000 diapers, right? And so bells started going off. They go, hey, let's do this.
Right.
And then since then, I guess they've distributed 225,000 diapers.
Wow.
How about that?
That's awesome.
That's huge.
And that's not just big, but it said in 2021 alone, the changing table helped 793 diaper users, or more simply put, babies that got diapers through this program. Pretty incredible. And there are ways you can get involved. They got a really cool sponsorship program. It's very cost effective, 100% tax deductible, them being a 501c3. And they actually will, with all the diapers you help obtain, they'll put your logo on the package, and so when people pick those up, it said these diapers proudly made possible by. You see a lot of businesses on there, Polylift, Chaparral 54, Premier 54 Motorsports. You just see the way they're doing that. It's pretty cool. And so if you want to get involved, there's ways. You got to check out that article on Lake Expo. But just another one of the awesome nonprofits in our community where it was somebody who was fortunate enough to not have that issue, saw the issue that others had, acted on it. 225,000 diapers later, 793 babies later.
Yeah.
What a difference the changing table is making.
And we say it all the time on all of our different shows. On the Community Spotlight show, we talk to a lot of business leaders that do this and nonprofit leaders that do this. On this show, we talk about it all the time. I know KB talks about it. This community is so special because it's got people like this that will give of their time and their energy and everything to help other people.
Heck yeah.
And this is just another one of those areas. What about 800 kids, right? 793 kids that have been helped out. And if you're a parent that's really struggling, can you imagine how much of a gift this is?
Oh, and it's not uncommon down here. I have a lot of people I know I went to school with. They're younger. They're not in a great situation, or they're struggling due to the pandemic, whatever reasons, lack of work, and even some, being single parents trying to raise a child. It gets very, very hard to do. And if it weren't for organizations like this, we'd have a lot more issues. So as great as the Lake of the Ozarks is, I think the whole country could almost take a page out of our book and kind of start to do that nationally. Because when you look at what's going on nationally right now, insane. A week ago, we did our 1 year in review on the President Joe Biden administration. We talked a little bit about Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, let's see that Nancy impersonation.
You don't want to see it again. I'm still recovering from my hangover from last week when I tried to handle as much alcohol as she does before she goes in front of a camera, and didn't end well. But we're seeing now for these Olympics over in China, these were supposed to be boycotted at one point in time, and I'm happy to see, according to Yahoo Sports, for the Open Friday night, the average tune-in was 16 million. That actually sounds like quite a few.
Sounds good, but it's not.
Until I tell you that in 2018, the average for the opening ceremony is 28.3 million. And what's funny about that, that was even in South Korea with the Asian time zone, which it was even more unappealing for Americans, less easy to get tuned in those times. And it was up 43% in 18. So it dropped 43% in this year. And the problem, how about the host country, China? Genocide against the Muslim minority group, in the southern part. Sweatshops, women's and trans rights, COVID creation. I mean, it is the China virus. Let's not stop. Let's just go ahead and call a spade a spade.
They sent it here.
It is the China virus. It's where it was created, and it is caused absolute chaos globally, mass genocide. In the Biden administration, if I remember, they ran on the premise they're supposed to stand for all these things, right? Obviously, human rights with sweatshops, women's and trans rights. That's a huge thing for the Biden administration, right?
Supposedly.
Is women's rights and trans rights. Yet in China, you get executed for that. Yet they are okay with that at this point in time. And what's really ironic is even Speaker of the House Pelosi urged all American athletes, USA athletes, to, okay, hey, when you're over there doing media interviews and talking amongst everybody, let's not say anything about, how bad the communism is and what they're doing, because we don't want to anger their leaders over there. So let's just be good and kind of look the other way. And it's like, the heck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, what has this come to? The Olympics used to be something you watched because you were proud of the country you represented. I used to watch and want to see the United States people representing the red, white, and blue that I didn't even know or cared about the things they were competing in. It meant a lot when they won gold.
Absolutely.
And now it's like, what are we doing? It's over a competition. And yeah, I do feel bad for the athletes that have trained, and of course, but it's still, at the end of the day, it's a game. And you're from the greatest country in the world, and we should boycott this. We shouldn't be over there right now. It is unbelievable. And what makes me even more mad did you see the opening ceremonies?
I haven't watched a second of it.
So according to Yahoo Sports, they ended the Yahoo ceremonies with a cross-country skier, I'm going to get this wrong, I'm sure, Dinajir Yalamajong, who is the state media said had ties to that minority group over there, the Muslim minority group, said had ties. Then they had this cross-country skater come out and light the cauldron, and then the media made you think that it was kind of like, oh, look, like we love these people. There's no genocide going on over here. Well, unfortunately, it's just a really cheap attempt to counter claims of genocide. It's propaganda to cover up a campaign of slavery, torture, forced abortions, and it's a sad attempt, not just by China, it's even a more sad attempt by our American leaders that are urging our athletes to turn a blind eye and still participate while they're over there. It's an epic fail, and it makes me happy to see that NBC is paying $7.75 billion through 2032 to broadcast these Olympics. And I'm telling you what, typically the ratings, they increase throughout the week. I don't think that's going to be the case. I have never seen so many people angry and just completely boycott something like I've seen people in the United States boycott the Olympics.
It's pretty sad what has happened where, the NBA and LeBron James pretty much sold out to China, right? There's so many people over there, there's big money, and so the NBA and LeBron they're liking that China money. The NFL kind of capitulated to China this last year. And of course the Biden administration, there's all the talk about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden being corrupt with China, and we seem to be seeing that too. And now we have the China games, and I think the majority of Americans understand what's going on, and we're staying away in droves, right? It's like, nope, no thank you.
It's not just the Olympic. I'm telling you that right now, people are waking up to what is going on, and you're even seeing it with what's happening with CNN. Of course, believe it or not, another conspiracy and another resignation of a big leader, CEO, Tucker, just crazy, and it all kind of brings us back to what's going on right now with where they're trying to push out and cancel Joe Rogan. And I'll tell you,
one,
the most important journalist media voice we've had since I've been alive. He is the most humble, fair, well-spoken.
Other than us.
Intelligent. No, we can't hold a candle to Joe Rogan. The guy is able to have every conversation, and now they're trying to cancel him. And it's great to see the people of color, the people of race, the minorities that are coming out and speaking on behalf of Joe Rogan, because they pulled up an old clip. He said the words you don't say. He should have apologized for it, but it was 9 years ago. They're trying to cancel him, and it is backfiring. Didn't it? Rumble came out and offered him $100 million for 4 years, good for Spotify. Said, we're not going to censor him. This is not the time in America where we want to censor somebody and take away their voice. And that was like, okay, Spotify.
I'd heard that Spotify had like dropped a bunch of his shows or something.
I think somebody put the pressure on Spotify, right. And Joe Rogan came up to the decision he was going to pull a couple of his shows and be more sensitive, which I think he should continue to exactly what he's doing.
Sure.
He is unbelievably gifted, and he is so important for the place that we are at, where he hasn't been afraid to ask the hard questions and sit down with the left, sit down with the right, sit down with the man, sit down with the woman, sit down with the dog woman, whatever she, he, be, they, there, this, get, it, whatever it would be. He's the most fair. We'll have conversation with everybody about anything, regardless of where you're at. And because of that, people are able to come together, have conversations, and from that you get growth and you get to move forward. He's so important, and I'm so glad to see the support he's getting. And I'm so glad to see Spotify and even so many people from opposition coming out and saying, this is a terrible attempt to cancel this guy over something 9 years ago. And I'm telling you, people slowly but surely are starting to wake up. And I'm not just talking about people that didn't vote for Joe Biden. I'm talking about people that did vote for Joe Biden are starting to wake up. Now, I'm going to have to save this art piece story because I don't want to cry. We only got a few minutes left.
I wanted to see you cry.
You'll get to, believe me. There's no shortage of tears. The overactive tear ducts aren't going anywhere. A couple of upcoming events. Valentine's Day dinners all around Monday.
Wow, that is coming up,
Isn't that crazy to think about?
Wow, yeah. I better go to the store.
Well, or go to Chance's. Lobster tail, prime rib, ribeye. And I know a guy might be able to get you a gift certificate for you.
Hey, all right. Hey.
But I would recommend make reservations, 573-374-8770. We're even going to have hand-dipped chocolate-covered strawberries, stuffed mushrooms, jumbo stuffed deep-fried shrimp. Oh. It's stuffed with like crab cheese and crab meat.
Dude, you're killing me, man.
Yeah, shameless plug for the parents as much as I possibly can. Also, vow renewal on Sunday the 13th. Bridal cave free.
Wow.
You get something including not only some gifts, you get to renew your vows for inside the cave. You and your significant other get a lifetime pass to the cave.
Ooh,
absolutely free. You go for the rest of your life, doesn't cost you a thing. Don't forget Mardi Gras pub crawl is next Friday and Saturday. That's a big one. That is sneaking up on us. Also, the Home Business and Lake Living Expo on the 25th and 26th. We're going to have Camdenton Chamber Director Casey Cloak on Cup of Coffee next week to talk about that. And then one of our favorites, Polar Plunge, next Saturday at 9 a.m. for registration. The strut starts at 10. That's at PB2 or Glen Grays Lake. For all events, go to funlake.com/events, or you can even watch my weekend event preview every Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
It's right after this show, right?
Yeah, 8:30, 1:30, and 8:30. And so if it's Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, just stick around. It's coming on right after this. Before we go, you have any inspiration for me?
Well, we've got Bill Mulder on the Spotlight Show this week.
There's nothing more inspiring than Bill Mulder,
inspiring.
baby.
It's Lake history, and it's so much fun.
It's like his fifth segment, right?
Yeah, this is his fifth show because he talks about different aspects of history at the lake. Next week, Bob and Jeff Shore start a series of shows, Spotlight shows, on the Shore family football legacy at Camdenton.
Wow.
Some great stories. That's next week, so that's going to be great. We got high school basketball for you this Friday night, California at Eldon.
Yeah.
Going to be a great game next Thursday, Osage at Eldon. I think we've got a game next Tuesday, a makeup game.
Warsaw and Versailles on Tuesday.
So a lot of basketball.
A lot of basketball. And you can catch Coach Craig Engelbrecht with the Osage Indians on the Coaches Show with Uncle Chris right now. And of course, our new Lotto Homes is up with the new Shooters 21.
So cool.
Beautiful property. Check that on all Lake TV platforms.
So
Huge
cool.
shout out to Jill Ray, Daryl Cunningham. Come see him for the President's Day sale, my friends, and tell him that Uncle Chris and Wow Will sent you. Until next week, we'll see you then.